Hello and welcome to my Northern Premier League Midlands Division review, your weekly home for everything happening in the MPL Midlands. I'm David Garton. I'm breaking down all the key results from the past week, analysing the big talking points, and checking in how the league table is shaping up, and looking ahead to the next round of fixtures. Firstly, I'd like to discuss some talking points from the league that caught my attention this week. Now, I don't know whether I've missed quite a bit this week, but it seemed quite quiet online with the clubs. So I've only seen a couple of player transfers, not a lot really going on. So anything I've missed, please put in the comments and let me know. So firstly, we will talk about Rugby Town. So Rugby Town posted on Friday that midfielder Teddy Rowe has decided to leave the club to join a pitching in Northern Premier League Midlands rival. Teddy joined the club in October from Worcester, scored 1 goal in 19 appearances. They'd like to thank Teddy for all the best in the future. Now, whilst we're staying on with Teddy, we can announce where he's moved to. So Bedworth United announced late Friday. They were pleased to announce the signing of Teddy Rowe, who joins from Rugby Town, no surprise, he went straight into the squad for the away game against Corby. Teddy's an exciting midfielder player with an eye for goal, and listed previous clubs as Aston Villa, Worcester and Leamington. Joint manager Jamie Lenton is pleased to have captured the exciting midfielder for the run of the final games. Joint manager Jamie Lenton was quoted saying, "Teddy is a player that I've been following for a long time, and now I'm really pleased to get this signing over the line in time for the rest of the fixtures to the end of the season." No week is complete without announcing a signing for Coleshill Town. So Coleshill Town would delighted to announce the signing of centre-back Kyle Rowley, who joins the Coleman from Bourne Sporting. Harry said, "I've known Kyle for a long time now, and he's been a target of mine for some time. When he rang me last week to say he wanted to join us, it was a no-brainer to get it done. He's experienced, having played a lot of step three football, and be a great addition to our squad, so I'm really pleased." So Harry Harris is very pleased with that one. So we will go on to the fixtures from the last week. So we'll start with the games from Tuesday night. We had 4 fixtures, so it was a jam-packed fixture schedule there for the MPL Midlands. So AFC Rushden Diamonds took on St Neots. So Rushden Diamonds, who have been pushing for the playoffs recently, and St Neots, who are still in the relegation zone. Aidan Webster gave Rushden Diamonds the lead on the 41st minute, only for captain Robbie Parker of St Neots to get the equaliser in the 52nd minute to get the share of the points there. Anstey Nomads versus Bourne Town. So Anstey Nomads, who are pushing top of the table Carlton at the moment, took on a struggling Bourne Town, who haven't been free scoring. So they've been struggling. They do know where the back of the net is. But Anstey Nomads came away 2-0 winners in this one. Oscar Tung scored on the 35th minute. He didn't start the game. He actually came on as an 8th minute substitution. So obviously there must have been an injury there. But he gave Nomads the lead. And Lewis Rose, who's not long rejoined the club, continued his scoring form after scoring the weekend against Bedworth United to make it 2-0 on the 80th minute. We then move on to Carlton Town, who are top of the table, took on Mickleover, who are kind of in that mid-range set of teams at the moment, so not really going up, not really going down. So Carlton Town ran out 3-1 winners in this one, got all 3 points. Lamin Mena, who's been scoring freely recently, made it 1-0 on the 22nd minute. Niall Hilton scored on the 28th to make it 2-0. Then we had Archie White, who came on as a second half substitution, pulled one back to make it 2-1 on the 68th minute. But Carlton Town secured the 3 points by making it 3-1 on the 76th minute with Dean Freeman scoring. But Archie White, who was the second half substitution and goal scorer for Mickleover, saw red on the 80th minute. So Mickleover had to play out the last 10 minutes with 10 men. Struggling Coventry Sphinx, who are struggling to find any form at the moment, took on Racing Club Warwick. Racing Club Warwick took away the 3 points here, winning the game 1-0. James Harding scoring on the 52nd minute to give Racing Club Warwick all the points with their new management team. Wednesday, we had one fixture, which was Corby Town versus Shepshed Dynamo. Corby Town, who are kind of that kind of mid-range team at the moment, kind of up and down with their results, took on Shepshed, who are kind of the same, really, actually. But it was Corby Town that came away with the 3 points. Captain Jordan Crawford scored in the 46 minutes to make it 1-0. And they ran out 1-0 winners there. Right, we'll then move on to the Saturday games. Right, so Saturday, we had Anstey Nomads took on Rugby Borough. So, Anstey Nomads took the lead on the 36th minute with Tristan Thomas scoring the goal, but only for 3 minutes later for Ellis Miles to make it 1-1. But Anstey Nomads took all 3 points in the second half when Tobias Liveridge scored in the 57th minute. This week, we're going to go through attendances on the Saturday game. So, that was in front of 305 fans, so a good attendance there at the Nomads. Belper Town, who were in the playoffs, took on Sutton Coldfield Town, who've been kind of dragged into that relegation battle a little bit recently. So surprise result here. So Sutton Coldfield Town took the lead on the 18th minute to make it 1-0. But then not long later, on the 29th minute, Ryan Edmonds was sent off for Sutton Coldfield Town, so they were down to 10 men. Later in the second half, James Berriford was sent off in the 76th minute. So then they were down to 9 men. But then somehow Sutton Coldfield Town continued the good run in that game to make it 2-0, with Tom Hurley scoring on the 86th minute. So Sutton Coldfield Town beat Belper, who have been in good form recently. That was in front of a crowd of 560 fans. That's a very good crowd for this level of football. Boldmere St Michaels, took on St Neots Town. So Boldmere, who have been in good form recently, I thought this was going to be a one-way traffic. St Neots, who obviously in the relegation zone have been struggling, but this finished 0-0. So share of the points there. No red cards to talk about in this game. There's quite a few to talk about today. But that was in front of an attendance of 141 fans. Coleshill Town took on Carlton Town. So Carlton Town, who are top of the table at the moment, the lead has been cut recently. Took on Coleshill Town, who are in the playoffs. So Bassett and Mandy scored in the first minute to make it 1-0 to Coleshill Town. Then 13 minutes later, on the 14th minute, Coleshill Town made it 2-0. But Carlton Town managed to pull one back late in the second half when Jason Law scored in the 91st minute, but they were unable to find an equaliser. I don't have an attendance for that one on the MPL website, so I apologise for that. Corby Town took on Bedworth United. So Corby Town kind of in that mid-range teams at the moment, kind of not going up, not going down, or they could get dragged into trouble. Took on Bedworth United, who are in good form at the moment. So Bedworth United scored in the second minute. Sam Hewitt scored the goal there. Then on the 65th minute, I think it was a penalty, the second goal. Sam Hewitt scored to make it 2-0. So Bedworth United in good form at the moment, just outside the playoff points. Took the 3 points there in front of a crowd of 420. Coventry Sphinx took on Shepshed Dynamo. So Coventry Sphinx, who are struggling for form at the moment, took on Shepshed, who forms a bit all over the place at the moment. But it was Shepshed that took the lead in the 10th minute to make it 1-0. Niall Prenderville, who's having a testimonial later this year, I believe. And then in the second half, Jesse Friend scored in the 48th minute to make it 2-0 to give all 3 points to the away team. That was in front of a crowd of 101 fans. Lichfield City, who have really been struggling with form recently, took on Basford in the playoffs. So this was a surprise result. So Kieran Francis scored on the 15th minute for Lichfield City to make it 1-0. Then Callum Griffin made it 2-0 on the 46th minute. Then Jude Taylor made it 3-0 on the 51st minute. So all 3 points staying at the home team. So another team that playoffs losing there with Basford. That was in front of a crowd of 239. Right, so the next game is an interesting one. There's a bit to talk about in this game. I don't know fully the story and I don't really want to speculate too much. But Loughborough Students, who have been struggling recently in the relegation zone, took on Rushden Diamonds, who have been having a late surge for the playoffs. So Loughborough Students took the lead on the 18th minute when Jack Scutt, I think is his name, I'm struggling there, my eyes, scored to make it 1-0. Then on the 21st minute, something happened. Tyler Winters and Bruno Andrade, both strikers for Rushden Diamonds, from what I can work out from what I read online, had a bit of a clash and were both sent off. So on the 21st minute, they lost both their strikers and were down to 9 men. So obviously, playing with 9 men, it's quite clear what's going to happen here. So Marcus Gilpin, who's a very good player in my opinion, scored in the 77th minute for the Loughborough Students to make it 2-0. Gilpin then scored on the 83rd minute to make it 3-0. That was in front of a decent crowd there of 230. And Mickleover took on Racing Club Warwick, so two teams kind of in that middle period again, not going down. So Racing Club Warwick took the lead on the, they didn't, sorry, let's get this right. Racing Club Warwick had a red card, on the 49th minute when Aaron Opoku was sent off. Mickleover then took the lead on the 74th minute. You think with a late goal they'd go and take the 3 points, but no, Archie Hamp decided different on the 89th minute to get an equaliser for Racing Club Warwick. Points are shared there. That was in front of a crowd of 182. Rugby Town, who were bottom of the table, took on free scoring Bourne Town. So Bourne Town took the lead on the 11th minute when Zach Allen, I believe he's the captain, scored. Robbie Ellis then scored in the 18th minute to make it 2-0. And then 2 minutes later, Lewis Darlington made it 3-0. So all 3 points going back to Bourne there. And that was in front of a good crowd of 350. Wellingborough Town took on Long Eaton United. Again, two teams. I thought Wellingborough were going to push the playoffs, seem to be struggling at the moment. Took on Long Eaton, whose form is all over the place. They win, lose. It's a bit odd, but they seem to have clawed things back recently. That finished 0-0. That was in front of a good crowd of 254 fans. So, as it stands at the moment, so we'll have a look at the tables. So Carlton Town now on 79 points, 8 points clear. So that gap of 14 points has now been cut with Anstey Nomads leading the charge to try to topple the table toppers there. There's 4 teams in the playoffs remain the same, but 2 were defeated in the top 4. Belper and Basford both losing, which has given Coleshill Town the opportunity to move up place following their victory. So we'll just have a quick look at the table. So Carlton Town on top with 79, Anstey Nomads on 71. Good form at the moment, Anstey. Basford on 61, Coleshill on 59, and Belper on 56. Now, the chasing pack at the moment, we've got Wellingborough, who's form, they haven't won in 4, on 53. Shepshed Dynamo on 51, so they need to sort themselves out if they want to get in their playoffs. Racing Club Warwick is still a possibility to get in the playoffs. They've had a change of manager, turn of form since then. Rushden Diamonds, who lost 2 men at the weekend, on 51 as well. And then we've got Lichfield City, who won 3 in a row now, on 51 as well. So those teams are probably the teams who are pushing for that last playoff place. There's still quite a few games to go, so anything can still happen. I think Eaton United, Mickleover on 47 as well, as being Boldmere on 47. Who would have thought Boldmere on 47? We were talking about the playoffs, but only a few weeks ago we were talking about them possibly getting relegated. So that just shows how tight this league is. But I think the teams down to 51 are the teams who are probably going to be the ones who have got a chance to get into those playoffs. So the top of the table will be interesting to see how that kind of plays out towards the end of the season. So let's take a look at the bottom half of the table. So once again, it's still very tight at the bottom. Rugby Town lost heavily to Bourne, who was still in the relegation zone but free scoring. St Neots got a good point away from home. Loughborough Students beat 9-man Rushden Diamonds, and Bedworth United picked up 3 great points away to Corby. Coventry Sphinx lost again, so they're still in real danger. So we'll just take a look at the bottom of the table. We'll go from bottom to top. So we've got Rugby Town on 33, lost 3 in a row now. I think 7 points adrift, bad form. I think Rugby Town are probably going to go this season. They did get relegated last season, but got reprieved. So I think this year could be the year they do go down. St Neots on 36, drew the last 2, so they're only 4 points away from safety. I think they are struggling. Loughborough Students, great win at the weekend, puts them on 37. Bourne Town on 39, who can't stop scoring. Bedworth United on 40, just outside of the relegation zone. Coventry Sphinx on 40 as well, and they can't seem to buy a win at the moment. Rugby Borough on 44. I think Rugby Borough, there's only 5 points there, and there's lots of games still to play. Are they safe? Not quite just yet. Sutton Coldfield Town on 46, and then Boldmere on 47. Corby on 47, Mickleover on 47, Eaton on 47. So I can't work out that split at the moment between the top and the bottom of who's going where. The teams, some teams at the bottom, like Bourne, Bedworth, and Loughborough, keep picking points up. So you kind of start thinking, well, what is the marker this year? 36 would have kept you up last season, and this season, I keep saying 46, 48. I was chatting to somebody yesterday, and I even suggested that maybe 50 points would have been the marker to stay up, which would be crazy because 50 at the moment would put you in 11th place. So it'll be interesting to see how the end of the season plays out. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen there. So that's a bit wild, this division this year. Right, so what do we have coming up next? So Tuesday, there's a top 2 clash between Anstey Nomads and Carlton Town. Can Anstey cut that lead to 6 points? Well, Rushden Diamonds take on Belper Town. Wednesday, 2 teams that are probably going to just finish kind of mid-table with Corby Town and Racing Club Warwick. So there's not much going on with that one, I don't think. I think both teams are going to be safe this season. Then we have a full roundup of games on Saturday. My pick of games is Anstey versus Basford, who are good top of the table clash. Whilst towards the bottom end of the table, Rugby Borough take on St Neots, which I do think 3 points for Borough might just be enough to make them safe for another season. So I'm going to take a look at the fixtures, go through them, give some predictions. If anybody wants to disagree with me, please put it in the comments. I've been getting some quite close recently, so I'm quite happy with that. So Rushden Diamonds taking on Belper. I think it's going to be a 1-0 victory for Belper. There's obviously issues at Rushden Diamonds at the moment. Not too sure if the 2 strikers are going to be suspended. Sometimes they don't get suspended straight away. I'm assuming it's violent conduct, so it's going to be a 3-game ban either way. So I think that's going to be 1-0 for Belper Town. Carlton Town take on Anstey Nomads, which is the big clash on Tuesday night. I think Anstey Nomads are going to cut that lead to 6 points. I have said for a little while that Carlton Town are going to drop points, which they have done, but I do think that's going to be cut to 6 points. That'll be interesting what happens there. On Wednesday night, we've got Corby versus Racing Club Warwick. I'm going for a 2-2 draw on this one. I think there's 2 teams. I think Corby are kind of a bit all over the place. Racing Club Warwick had a new management team. Results have improved. I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw there. We'll then look at the fixtures for Saturday. So Anstey Nomads versus Basford. I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory for Anstey Nomads. I think they're going to keep that pressure on Carlton Town. Bedworth United taking on Rushden Diamonds. Slightly biased here. I'm going for 2-0 to Bedworth United. I should be covering that game, fingers crossed. Just a little note there, sorry, by the way. Anstey Nomads versus Basford is a 1 p.m. kickoff. I'm assuming that's because it's non-league day and they're trying to not clash with some other teams in the local area. Belper Town take on Lichfield City. I think that's going to be a 1-0 victory for Belper Town, although Lichfield had a good win at the weekend. Carlton Town versus Loughborough Students. I think Carlton are going to bounce back here with a 3-0 victory. Coleshill Town versus Coventry Sphinx. Coleshill Town are very good at the moment. I think it's going to be a 3-0 victory to Coleshill Town. Corby Town taking on Rugby Town. I think Rugby Town are going to just fall off the rest of the season now. It's going to be 2-0 victory to Corby Town. Mickleover versus Boldmere. Two teams who are very close in the table right now. I think that's going to be 2-1 victory to Boldmere. Rugby Borough versus St Neots. I think that's going to be 1-0 victory to Rugby Borough. I think that's going to make them just safe. Shepshed Dynamo versus Eaton United. I'm going for a 2-1 victory to Eaton United today. I'm going for an away victory. Sutton Coldfield Town versus Racing Club Warwick. I've gone for 2-2 because I can't decide who's going to win that one. Wellingborough Town versus Bourne Town. I think Wellingborough, they're just outside that place. If they really want to get in there, they've got to get a victory. I want to go for 1-0 victory to Wellingborough, although Bourne Town are very free scoring at the moment. So it'll be interesting what happens there, but I could be completely wrong on that one. So again, if anybody wants to question me on these predictions, please do. Now, as usual, I haven't watched any highlights. I've done this video quite early today. I've recorded it early because I'm very busy today. Please check out all the clubs' social media sites. A lot of the clubs do put highlights on now. Some short, some long, just to see the goals. It's nice to be able to share. And if you see the highlights and you like them when you're on social media, share them so other fans can see it. Let's spread the word of the NPR Midlands. So just one final note, which I'd like to mention if you're still watching. The 28th of March is non-league day. This is an opportunity for non-league teams to try and get fans in the ground, try and promote themselves. So there's not going to be much football play this weekend coming up from the professional point of view because it's international weekend. So please, if you can, get down, support your local team. If you're unable to get down, support your local team, get on social media, like, comment, interact with the clubs, let them know the support is out there because obviously without the fans, football is nothing. So once again, that is the end of my Midlands, my pitching in Northern Midlands division review. Bit of a mouthful that. If you've liked the video, please like, share, comment. Until next time, please enjoy the football and I'll see you again soon.